It's the Fox Fantasy Insiders, all postseason long, brought to you by Cooley Cars and Gaming.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Fox Fantasy Insiders postseason edition, brought to you by Cooley Cards and Gaming. My name is Lucas, this is Corey, and we're your Fox Fantasy Football Insiders.
That's right. What a week it was of football. Hey, I mean, we had some unbelievable games. I know the best divisional round that I can remember, certainly, in that game between the Bills and Chiefs was one to remember, and Lucas with the great call for Gabriel Davis. Don't forget that.
Breaking
Definitely
records.
the number one fantasy pick of the week, and that was, I believe, your sleeper, right?
It was my sleeper. He was going cheap. Like, I think he was behind like Emmanuel Sanders, Van Jefferson, and man, they doubled Diggs, and Gabriel Davis came up with 4 touchdowns, breaking some records, and it was awesome. I was fist pumping the air.
That's right, me too. I mean, we spent 18 weeks picking sleepers, so it seems like we've got that mastered. But again, we will bring you all of our picks for this week in the championship round. Sleeper picks, value plays, and must starts. And we're going to get into that in a moment. But before we do, we're going to talk a little bit about our sponsor, who we appreciate very much, Cooley Cards and Gaming.
Cooley Cards and Gaming is now open in Valley Plaza on Alaska. They buy and sell sports, trading, and gaming cards from inexpensive to investment level. Stop in and check out their wide selection of PSA graded and ungraded collectible cards and stock up on unlimited protective display supplies. Open Monday through Saturday from 11 a.m. through 6 p.m. Complete your collection with premium quality cards from Cooley Cards and Gaming. So thank you, Cooley Cards. We would not be here without you guys. And every week this place gets more full, and we're just excited to come here and look at all the cool stuff. What do we got on the table right now?
Oh, the stuff that we have today is unbelievable. We have a Joe Burrow 1-of-1 rookie card. Obviously, Joey B got a big game this week, right, playing in the championship, and his opponent, Patrick Mahomes, we've got a very special Patrick Mahomes card here as well, but the big items aren't even football related. We have here a Paul Molitor World Series MVP hat from 1993.
Wow.
Paul Molitor, we love that, Brewer Nation, and this is his game-worn hat. I mean, he was running around on the field with this hat on during the World Series. You just don't find anything more special than that, except for maybe this Paul Molitor All-Star ring that we have on display here as well, and all sorts of cool stuff coming in every single day here at Cooley Cards and Gaming. They've got just unbelievable, unique merchandise here. Go well beyond just your standard playing cards, tons of merchandise, and like I said, always funneling in new stuff. So come in and check it out. It really is a lot of this stuff. You got to see it to believe it.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So thank you, Cooley Cards. Corey, do you want to get into our picks this week?
Let's
I think we got some
do it.
good ones.
Let's do it. We'll start off with our sleeper picks. For my first sleeper pick, or my only sleeper pick, I'm going with Byron Pringle. His DraftKings price is $4,300. He had 7 targets in 4 of the last 5 games, so the volume has really been there for Byron. He's kind of been the guy to step up as who's going to be that second wide receiver in the Kansas City Chiefs offense. They recently sent Josh Gordon down on their practice squad, which I think was a nice vote of confidence for Byron Pringle. He's been playing the majority of the snaps. Double-digit targets in 4 of the last 5 games, or double-digit points in 4 of the last 5 games. He's had 15.4 fantasy points during that time range, so he's really been on a pretty good hot streak. And sound the siren. It's a big, big, big over-under.
Yeah.
Lucas knows I love a good over-under. 54.5. Of course, the Chiefs delivered on that same 54.5 over-under last week against the Bills. We expect more of the same, not a lot of defense, a whole lot of offense. And Byron Pringle, just based on volume in and of itself, should be a guy that has a pretty good day this week.
Yeah, I didn't really see this coming. I mean, all the hype with McCole Hardman and like him being like a young receiver. Byron Pringle, I don't know his age exactly. I don't know if he's like 25 or whatever, but no, he's been looking great, and he's been contributing a ton, and man, he's cheap. He's super cheap, so I think he's the cheapest pick out of all of our picks this week. And
yeah, what I like about Pringle is that they use him more in kind of that third down chain mover type of guy. He just gets a lot of volume. They don't use Pringle a lot for the big play, which is obviously where they would use Mecole Hardman, and they have used Mecole Hardman on a lot of gimmick stuff, a lot of deep stuff, and in an offense where you've got Travis Kelce, who's a walking big play. You've got Tyreek Hill, who is playing at a different speed than everybody else. You need a guy who you can consistently go to move the chains, to run the intermediate routes, and that guy has been Pringle. So really just a lot of catches in a PPR format like DraftKings. That's very valuable.
Yeah, I can see 6 targets going his way this weekend.
For sure.
Awesome.
How about you, Lucas?
For my fantasy sleeper for championship weekend, I'm going with Tyler Boyd. He's going cheap at $4,200 on DraftKings and $5,800 on FanDuel. He's the cheapest wide receiver option for the Bengals. And yes, Boyd has hit rock bottom in recent weeks, yet I believe there's still hope for him. He actually has scored a touchdown in 4 straight games heading into last week's matchup. So last week, let's just cancel that out and focus on the good here. All the hype this season is on rookie sensation Jamar Chase, and then T. Higgins is looking great. But Boyd is still a solid player. It's possible that what happened to the Bills wide receivers, as we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, will happen to the Bengals. The Chiefs will likely double Jamar Chase, just like Stephon Diggs, opening up some more opportunities for Higgins and Tyler Boyd. The Bengals will have to pass to keep up in the home, so I can see Boyd getting around 5 targets, kind of like Pringle. So, plug in your studs, and if you have some leftover cash, I feel like these are both good sleeper picks.
Yeah, Tyler Boyd is a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
The base offense for the Bengals is 3 wide receivers, running back and tight end. So he's on the field the majority of the time. It's a game where the Bengals should be chasing for the majority of the games. So I expect Tyler Boyd to be a little bit more involved than last week when they were kind of sitting on a lead a little bit. It's a good matchup.
Yeah, cheap.
It is a little bit of a dart throw with the Bengals. You never know what wide receiver is going to be the one to go off, but Tyler Boyd's been that guy more often than not as of late, so I like to play.
Awesome. Who do you got for a value pick?
My value pick is Tyler Higbee. 2 bald guys. We love a guy with a good set of hair, and Tyler Higbee's got that. His DraftKings price is only $3,700, which is the cheapest of all the starting tight ends left in the playoffs. He's had 6+ targets in 5 of the last 6 games. And again, like I mentioned last week, Higbee was one of my value plays to watch. Safe floor, 4 catches and 40+ yards in 6 straight games. You can't ask for much more out of a tight end. You don't even get that type of consistency out of George Kittle. The Rams are expected to lean on the pass in this game, and I'm basing that off of the reality that the Rams were awful running the ball last week, and the Niners were awesome at stopping the run against the Packers last week. So what I'm seeing here is a situation where the Rams are probably going to try to exploit the 49ers defense weakness, which is their secondary. And lastly, this is just about a guy who has played well against this team. He's played the 49ers twice this year, averaging 17.3 points per game against San Francisco in those 2 contests. So there's some precedence here. This isn't just a dart throw. This is a guy who has historically performed well against San Francisco. And for those who have played sports, that's relevant. If you've got a good track record against another team, that is a thing in your mind when you're playing against them. So I expect Higbee to be very involved in this game and to have a big game.
Yeah, Stafford loves him too. He always goes to him. And this is a great value pick, but I feel like this is also a sleeper pick at the tight end position.
Yeah.
He's super affordable, and I have him in my lineup so far this week. I'm still kind of building it out, but yeah, I got him in my lineup, and I think it's a great tight end option. The cheapest one, you don't have to spend, I don't know how much Travis Kelce and Kittle are going for, but I feel like Higbee is one to plug in for sure.
Absolutely.
And then if you want to stack them, you can go with my quarterback option and grab Matt Stafford. After struggling a little bit to close out the season, Stafford bounced back in the playoffs. Last week he put up 366 passing yards and 3 scores. Let's be honest, Stafford has played some really good football for most of the year. He's completed 67% of his passes for 8.1 yards per attempt. This also includes 8 games above 300 yards. And like Corey said, the Rams, expect them to pass a ton. This week, the Rams remain 3.5-point favorites in a game with 46.5 points total. Stafford struggled against the Niners in their last matchup, so I think he'll have a little chip on his shoulder. And I just think Stafford has a solid floor, and if you're looking to pay down at quarterback, plug him in. So.
Yeah, it's a great stack opportunity, as Lucas mentioned. And again, I really do believe that all the signs point to a game where the Rams in particular are going to be throwing a lot.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see the opposite on the other side of the ball with the Niners. But competitive game, I don't think that any team is going to pull away in this one, so it's going to stay close. So the Rams have all the reason to continue to throw the ball. I agree. I expect Stafford to come out and play determined football against a team that they've actually lost to both times they played them earlier this year.
Yeah, I'm excited for the matchup for sure. Who do you got for a must start?
My must start is Joe Mixon. DraftKings price $6,800. He is the most expensive of all of the running backs this weekend, but for good reason. He has had 18+ attempts/targets in 11 straight games. That is a monster workload. These are games where they've lost big or won big, so it doesn't matter. He's truly game script proof. Plays every single down. he will not be game scripted out of this game if Kansas City gets up early and often. And it's a great matchup. The Kansas City defense has been exploited on the ground and through the air all season long. It's certainly been a defense that we've picked on here. And again, just let me say it again. You guys know it. We've watched this show now for, this is what, our 19th week?
Yeah,
I'm a big over-under guy, and this is as big of an over-under as you're going to find, 54.5. The Chiefs against over-unders this year have been monsters. They've hit almost every time. So I expect a lot of points in this game. I do think it will be competitive, and I just don't see the Bengals scoring 20-plus points and not having one of those touchdowns go to Joe Mixon.
Yeah, great in the pass, too, with the PPR formats. I feel like he's like really the only must-start running back, I feel. I mean, there's some good running backs out there, but this guy is like, he's just a gimme. You got to spend up on him.
Yeah, he's the lone remaining true workhorse back left in the playoffs. He plays every down. He only comes out when he needs a quick breather.
Yeah.
Fire him up.
Yeah, definitely. And then I'm going with the most expensive wide receiver. Corey had him last week, and I'm going with him this week, Cooper Kupp, because how do you not start him or spend up? He's continuing his historic season as he squashed any volume concerns. Last week, he had 9 receptions for 183 yards and a tutty on 11 targets. 11 targets is beautiful to see. Kupp had received exactly 7 targets in the Rams' 3 previous games, so this 11-target game is a welcoming sight. On the year, Cooper tallied up a 31% target share and a 32% air yard share in the offense. He's only had 2 games below 95 yards. He's unstoppable, and he's clearly the fantasy football MVP this season. He's had 90-plus yards or a touchdown in 90% of his games. Yes, he's the most expensive wide receiver, like I mentioned, but he is completely worth it, and I think he goes nicely if you want to stack him with Matt Stafford. I mean, heck, throw Tyler Higbee in there, too. Just go all out on the Rams. I mean,
that passing offense, you can do that, and it's one of the few in the league that you can. What more can be said about Cooper Kupp? He was my pick last week. Of course, he delivered 170 yards or whatever it was and a touchdown. The guy is unbelievable at this point. I firmly believe he cannot be stopped. I've tried for so long in DraftKings format all year long to just go against the grain, not pick Cooper Kupp, not pick Cooper Kupp. This will be the week that he doesn't do it. I've stopped that. I stopped that about 8 weeks ago. I just fire Cooper Kupp up in all of my lineups. He will finish as one of the top 5 wide receivers. It's almost guaranteed at this point. Expect another big game out of Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I was almost going to pick Deebo Samuel, just ride him throughout the whole playoffs, but I got Corey's picks first. I'm like, oh, he didn't pick Cooper Kupp. All right, I'm going to pick him then. gotta pick him. So, no, it should be a fun matchup, and I think, yeah, like you said, the Rams will be passing, so expect big things for sure.
All right, well, those are our picks for the divisional round weekend. Hopefully we help you guys make a ton of money in daily fantasy, whether you play FanDuel or DraftKings or any other format.
You want to do some predictions?
We're going to do some predictions.
Yeah.
We did our predictions last weekend, and we did okay. I mean, it was a surprising weekend, a lot of upsets, but we thought we held our own, and we want to continue to bring you guys our predictions and talk a little bit of shop, talk a little football instead of just, the fantasy stuff, right?
Yeah,
We're going to talk
fun.
real man football here now. So, Lucas, Bengals Chiefs. What do you see?
All right, so I want to pick the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. It's a fun squad, but I just do not think they are going to beat Kansas City at home. But I have the score close. I got Kansas City winning 37-30. So I just think it's at Arrowhead. I think the hotness will just kind of wear off on the Bengals. I don't want it to. I hope I'm wrong. I want the Bengals to win, being a Broncos fan, but I just think Mahomes has the experience. Andy Reid is a mastermind. So I don't know. Do you agree or disagree? I want to hear your thoughts.
I do. I mean, I agree with everything you said, even down to the fact that I want the Bengals to win this game. I just don't see that happening. I do have it being a close game. I've got Chiefs 31, Bengals 27. So if you are a sports bettor, the Bengals are laying 7. So, the Bengals might be the play here. But, man, it's tough. The Bengals did beat the Chiefs in Week 17, 34-31.
It's a fun game.
That was in Cincinnati, and I think the Chiefs are clicking a little bit better at this point than they were. That was kind of the game where they sort of started to really figure out their offense.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. Last week, Joe Burrow was sacked 9 times.
Yeah.
Against a defense that's not as good as this Chiefs defense. We pick on this Chiefs defense because they do bleed a lot of fantasy points, and they do because their offense is so good. But in the reality of the situation is the Chiefs defense is good, has a lot of playmakers, but in particular on that defensive line, Chris Jones, Frank Clark, they get to the quarterback, And I do think that that's the difference in this game. This is going to be on the road in a much more rowdy environment than Tennessee was. No offense to the Tennessee fans out there. But if Joe Burrow put up 19 points against Tennessee, and a defense that isn't as good, doesn't get to the quarterback quite as well as the Chiefs do, in a less raucous environment, it could be ugly for Joe Burrow in this one. But I do think that the Bengals rally, figure it out, 31-27.
Yeah, make it a game. I mean, we've been blessed with some great football, so hopefully that continues, and this is just a game, because I think a lot of people have the Chiefs winning this one, but we'll see what happens. Go Bengals.
All right, Lucas, 49ers-Rams, that game you can catch right here on Fox. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I got the Rams winning, man. I got them going to the Super Bowl. They were actually one of my buddies and I always do Super Bowl picks, and I had the Bills and Rams, so I'm really riding the Rams here. They're star-studded, but yes, the Niners are physical. They're a bit more physical team, but I think this should be a good game. You know, I think, like I said, Matt Stafford has a chip on his shoulder with that loss, and I mean, they got home field advantage. They got a great defense, and I just think Jimmy G can't really keep up, I guess. He didn't do anything. Corey and I were talking about this before the show. He didn't do anything in Green Bay, really. It was mainly just defense and special teams with that Niners victory in Green Bay. But yeah, I got the Rams winning 24-21.
All right, we're going chalk, both of us, because I got Rams as well, 24-17.
Nice.
The line is 3.5 in favor of the Rams. I think that is probably giving the 49ers a little bit too much credit.
Yeah.
You know, and remember, last week the 49ers essentially accounted for 3 points offensively. The rest of the points, the other 10 points that they scored, can really be credited to, I don't know who you want to give the credit to, the Packers special teams or the Niners special teams, and the Niners defense, which certainly deserves a lot of credit. I just think that, you know, the Niners, they beat the Rams twice this year. It's really tough to beat a team 3 times in 1 year. That's a narrative around the NFL. And it's different when playoff football comes along. The Rams have really been clicking, in particular on defense. Von Miller getting integrated in that defense.
Yeah, he's looking great.
OBJ continue to be more integrated in that offense. So those stars they brought in halfway through the year really starting to look more like they're gelling with the rest of the team. I just don't see it. I mean, I've always had a soft spot for the Shanahans as a Bronco fan. I root for the Shanahan family. I would love to see the Niners go to the Super Bowl. I know Lucas wouldn't because he picked the Rams to go to the Super Bowl, but I just don't see it here. I think the Rams take care of business.
I think it's going to be a good game for sure.
I'm looking forward to this weekend.
Yeah, good games. So, awesome.
All right. Well, that's it for our show this week. Thank you guys for being with us. We'll have one more show for the Super Bowl week, and we will then be signing off for the season.
Yeah, it's been fun.
And it's been really, really fun to be with you guys and help you guys make a lot of money. So good luck this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
It's the Fox Fantasy Insiders, all postseason long, brought to you by Cooley Cars and Games.